Hello, Indie Congress. Andrew Benioff here on a lovely afternoon here in Philadelphia. We're going to get started in just a moment as Amy Ogden joins us in a second. I do want to say a couple of things before I have Amy join us. Want to thank the folks at Hannah Lee Communications and PR. Hannah and Michael, the partners who run that, have been super supportive of us, and we are grateful that they're sponsoring our July programming. So thank you very much. You guys are freaking the best. That's all I have to say. If anybody else wants to support but can't sponsor, feel free to donate a few bucks. That'd be great to keep us going. We appreciate it. You can do that on our website, ilcongress.com, under digital events. Be fantastic. We're ending the week this week with Stacy Shoemaker is going to interview Raul Leal, the CEO of Virgin Hotels. They got a lot going on, so it should be really great. That'll be a wonderful conversation. And I want to let you know that we have full programming through the end of July, and we are going to be taking the month of August off as I think things slow down and coming back after Labor Day. So just letting everybody know. All right, let me add Amy here. That's all I have for you. And we'll get going, folks. All righty. Waiting for technology to work. There she is.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. I'm happy
You're
to hear
busy.
you're taking August off. You deserve a break, Andrew.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, you're busy. You're like running the circuit. You're on all the news channels, huh?
I don't know about that, but man, oh man, it's if I thought in mid-March that I was going to take a break, I was vastly mistaken. But it's been really, all things considered, it's hard for me to say it's been great given the world circumstances, but it's been as good as it could be.
Good, good. Now, are we getting you from Vermont, or are you back now in your apartment?
I'm back in my spacious West Village studio with Vermont was good though. It was my first time out of the city in 4 months, which just felt unthinkable 4 months ago. But
yeah,
I rented a huge Airbnb in the middle of the woods and just took a few days to sit by a lake.
Good for you.
Breathe some fresh air. It was
That's
needed.
awesome.
It was really needed.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Fantastic. And did you bring the doggie? Did he like it?
I brought her and she lived her best life. I felt guilty bringing her back to New York to this small apartment, but then I was like, well, wait a minute, if I can live here, she definitely can.
I think you probably, I don't know exactly. I haven't ever visited your apartment or actually even met the dog, but I'm sure just knowing you take very good care of her.
So she's a well cared for Manhattan puppy, but it was funny being there. I mean, she didn't nap. She ran all day. I was like, oh, wow, you really do. You're a mountain dog. So maybe one
Nice.
day.
Nice, yeah. Nice. Well, all right. Well, let's talk a little bit about hospitality and what you're doing. So before we get into what you just started, let's go back a little bit. Talk to me about your, I know you were with J Public Relations for a while. That's where I met you the first time.
Yeah.
But you may have done stuff before that even. Talk to me a little bit about your career and what brought you to today.
Absolutely. I really like talking about my career, and I'll keep it short for the sake of the audience, but I think it's inspirational for young people getting into a career because I sort of charted my own course. I started in Jacksonville, Florida at a pretty small marketing firm doing account support. I was on accounts, supporting accounts. I stayed there for 10 years and worked my way up to director of the company, running 40% of the agency's revenue under my umbrella.
Nice.
So, that I'm a bit of a stayer. I pick a place and I dig in and I like to grow within, which is really fun. And then I moved to San Diego and that's where I joined JPR, and I was there for the past 9 years. I just wrapped up last week, and to say that JPR has been an absolute joyride and a blessing would be an understatement. It's been absolutely the best. It was just a personal decision that I needed to try something new in my life. And so, during COVID, I had a lot of time to think, like I think everyone did and does. And I really took stock of what do I want the next chapter to look like. And it's funny, people have asked me countless times over the years, why don't you just start your own thing? That was first of all, I was like, well, what is start my own thing? That's a really vague, life recommendation to make to someone. But there's a start your own thing. And my first gut instinct was always no, because I didn't want employees. I love working independently and I like being a part of a team, but I didn't see myself having a team that I ran and, having a staff of employees. So I always said no, but then I was honestly during COVID, I had more time to think and I thought, well, wait a minute, I think I could consult. And so I would be quote unquote doing my own thing, but it would be just me and creating something that felt right for me. And so then I dug deep into the parts of my job that I loved the most. And what I loved the most was meeting new people. I mean, that's how I met you, coming to ILC, dedicated. I came for 4 straight years to every event in New York. I even went out to Wilmington, Delaware, to your
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you came down to that TEDx one. Yeah.
Lab with TEDx. That's how I met so many great other people through ILC and leaders in the industry. And so it was like, okay, wait a minute. I could take what I love best, which is reaching outside the walls, meeting new people. I do have a bit of a knack, and I always have, for kind of matching up two things that make a lot of sense together, introducing people, businesses, opportunities. And I really love just smartly creating successful collaboration. So that's what I'm doing with my new business.
Well, I'm sort of disappointed because you just said you didn't want to take on, any employees. I was hoping you'd give me a job.
Like, am I hiring? I've said, yeah. I have said on my best day, if I have like a support team member and a bookkeeper, I'll be really happy. So, I mean, if your bookkeeping skills are as sharp.
Well, what about a personal assistant? I'll run around, I'll get your laundry for you, I'll get you a smoothie in the morning, I'll drive the car.
Keep selling. It's very possible this could happen.
Good.
Forever.
All right.
It's forever.
All right, good. So okay, so let's talk a little bit more specifically about, because I think when you first told me about what you're doing, it sounded like something different to me, and then when you told me, I thought, wow, that's really brilliant.
Thanks.
So you said consultant, so I said, oh, you're going to go around consulting for companies in your space, which is PR and marketing and branding, things like that, and that's not what you're doing actually. So talk about your idea for this. It's almost like, and I don't want to make it, you either take this as a compliment or not, but it's almost like you're sort of like a commercial real estate broker. You're putting together, and a mortgage banker sort of all together. You're putting together deals. You're putting together sources of capital. That's what a mortgage banker does. Getting a deal done for that client and trying to help them through that process. You're doing that, but in the marketing and PR journey. Is that correct?
That's a good starter. Yeah. So, really what happened is after 20 years leading agencies, I kept seeing this thing happen over and over again where I was like, there's got to be a better way. So what happens is when brands like travel, real estate, or lifestyle brands, when they need an agency or an expert partner in an area like digital marketing, SEO, web, paid search, PR, social media, branding, and creative, right? When they need an agency or expert in a field like that, they oftentimes don't know where to start. They Google, they ask a friend, they create their short list from a few websites and maybe a referral. They do a phone call, they get proposals, they make a decision based on a 90-minute pitch. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way we've all been doing it. But I just kept thinking, like, there's got to be a better way, because brands don't have the time, they don't have the runway that's really needed to properly vet an expert agency that you're going to partner with for probably years, right? They're often, it's speed to market. Any brand I talk to, they don't need a PR agency in 6 months. They need one in 30 days, always, right? So the brands have a big decision to make, but they don't have the time to really do their research. So they make a few good guesses and hope they made the best one. And then on the agency side, this is really interesting. And having been on the agency side for so many years, I've just seen it so many times. It's actually surprisingly hard for agencies to proactively build their clientele. If you cold outreach, it's very futile. You rarely get a response. Even if you do, it's always the wrong time. It's very needle in a haystack. We all know that one story of that one person at an agency who happened to send a cold email, and the person goes, perfect timing. We were just looking. Here's our RFP. But, very, very rare. So you've got brands that need best-in-class agencies, but really don't have the time to properly do their research. So they make some good guesses and hope for the best. On the other side, you've got agencies that are so good at what they do, but they sort of have to wait and see who calls because it's very hard to do proactive outreach. So that's where I come in. So kind of like what you said, the way I describe myself to people is think of me like a realtor. The people looking for a home, those are like the brands. They don't pay me a penny. It is my job to show them amazing options that I have thoroughly vetted. Take them on a tour, show them a few that I think match up with exactly what they're looking for, see what they like. Pick one of mine, don't pick one of mine, doesn't matter, you never pay me.
So if I own a hotel and I go to you and I say, Amy, I'm looking for branding on this for this property that I want to do, you know, I know a few people, but I've never worked with them, but I like some of them. Other ones I've heard some good things about, but I don't know them either. I tell you about what I'm trying to do, and then you consult with me, talk to me about it. I don't have to pay you anything. You make some suggestions, you do some homework, you think about it, and you make some introductions on my behalf. If I choose one of those people that you suggested, I still don't pay you?
No. And I'm sorry.
I like this. Do you take me to lunch also?
Business, by the way, I launched it yesterday. So I have a collective of agencies that I'm putting together. This is a hand-picked, hand-curated collective of best-in-class agencies in all those areas I mentioned earlier: digital marketing, PR, social branding. So if you come to me and you go, I don't have the time to shop around, and here's the beauty of it, Andrew, have the time to shop around and look at the ones I recommend. That's what's really cool about this. It's not all or nothing. You could say, I have a couple agencies I like, but I could use a couple more. I know you have a collective of best-in-class agencies that you've taken a lot of time to vet. Who do you like for me? Toss mine into the mix too. That's what's really cool about it. If you go with one of mine, great. My partnership is with the agencies. You never pay me a penny. And in fact, if anything, I'll save you a lot of time and headaches searching around trying to find a good partner.
Yeah, I also find that, listen, I have a number of relationships just through ILC of people that I know and I would trust, but it's taken me years to know them. I don't know if they're the best in the business or not. Some of them I like as people very much. Some of them I really like their work a lot. But I think for each deal, it's going to be a little different also. It depends on what you're doing and what you actually need. And quite frankly, I'm not an expert. I have no idea what I need.
Exactly. So a lot of brands, when they're looking for an agency partner, they want someone they vibe with and they want someone who can deliver on the results. I can't decide if you're going to have chemistry, but what I can do is dig deep on results. So part of my vetting process with agencies that I consider for the collective, and it's pretty vetted, like it's not easy to get into the collective because I'm really going deep. I mean, I'm asking these agencies to open it up, show me your numbers. I want to see client retention. I want to see team retention. I want to see ROI and ROAS. Like, I don't just want to see the pretty case studies you put in every proposal. Like, I want to dig deep into your business. If you do 8 things, I want to know the 3 that you kill it at. And that's what I'm going to talk about for you. Like, this is really kind of taking the time it takes to dig really deep, do the research, and at least help you skip the line and get a few steps ahead when you're looking for
that's good. It's good. So, okay, I have a question. So actually, I'm going to veer off a little bit in not talking about your company, but I want your opinion on the sort of the brand stories today, because I think a lot of brands, especially with what's going on, not only with COVID, but with Black Lives Matter and just sort of everything else that's going on in our country, it's very hard to find a brand that feels very authentic today. They feel very sort of forced, and that they're all with us and we're all in this together and they're all looking out for us. And after a while, it just gets to feel like so much bullshit. It's unbelievable. So how do you think, do you have any brands you think are doing a particularly good job, or do you have any suggestions for people struggling with their brands on how they ought to be speaking to their customers?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So right now, when I'm talking to brands about how to layer in their messaging, what I tell them to do is flip the script. So when it comes to branding and messaging, you can educate or you can entertain. Those are your 2 choices. If you're not doing one or both of those, go back to the drawing board. People want to be educated or entertained. That's about it. So before, in a pre-COVID world, we would entertain 80% of the time and educate 20% of the time. You know, we would entertain with beautiful photos and videos and storytelling of what it's like to come to our destination or stay at our hotel. But now it really needs to be 80% information. Travelers and people right now, they don't really want a photo of a cocktail in front of a sunset. They probably haven't had a cocktail in front of a sunset in quite a while. They want information. So I like to talk about your messaging like you as a human, right? Like if I am friends with someone and all I ever do is text them pictures of, you know, my breakfast plate with some eggs on it and, you know, some like breakfast vibes quote, they'll be like, who are you? But if I layer in like a fun breakfast photo with real conversation about how my life is going, you know, then I'm a real person. So I think with brands, trying not to be so strategic and just honestly be a real person. You know, every brand should have a personal identity. Every brand should have a persona. So what would this person be doing and saying right now? And do that. But I would stick with like 80-20 information versus entertainment right now. People really just want details. They want to know, you know, I was talking to a friend yesterday. She leads a hotel group, a pretty large hotel group. One of their hotels just opened in the Dominican Republic. And she's like, yeah, the DR is open. Our hotel is open. I can't get there. It's a $900 flight with 2 stops. Like you can't get there. So her challenge that we're working on right now is how do you target these mini pockets that can get there pretty quickly and easily and put all your money on those.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we have people, my partner, Eric Warner, is driving through the middle of Wyoming, heading out to Jackson Hole. Right now, isn't driving across the country. He seems to be listening, which is good. And we have Charlie Jones listening from the UK, which is cool. So we got people from all over. I love it. And that's wonderful. Welcome to everybody. If anybody has a question, we're going to be on for just a couple more minutes. Throw it onto the comments. I'd love to ask Amy that. But Amy,
there's a little bit more in the collective that I'd like to tell you about.
Oh, please go.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So first and foremost, it's a bit of a trust me factor. I've done the research. I've done the legwork. Come to me. I'll match you up with some agencies and experts I think could be good for you. Go crazy. That's it. But something that I also think is really missing in this space is data and metrics. So over time, and this is going to take time, as I do make matches, say I match a hotel up with a digital marketing agency. At the 3-month, 6-month, and 1-year marks of their partners, sorry, I have a very active puppy next to me. At the 3-month, 6-month, and 1-year marks of their partnership, they'll each do report cards on each other. So over time, I'm going to have data to back up this idea that like, yeah, they're good, but I've also matched them up with 4 agencies that have ranked them at 95% or above on these 5 metrics. A bit of an Uber rating, if you will. And conversely, the agencies are going to rate the brands. I've seen when a bad brand gets hired by a good agency, it's a culture killer. So I need to know that the brands that I'm representing, much like a home buyer, they're not going to come in and spray paint the walls, right? And then third, there will be a social impact component. So a portion of all revenue through the collective, if someone works through me and works with any of my partners, will be given back to the communities so the brands can know.
That's awesome. So some sort of a dashboard with data and metrics so you can keep track of what's going on in your success and also the brand success, et cetera. So that's great.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be a big part of it. So I think when you've got, someone doing the legwork for you, you've got data and metrics to back it up, and you've got a social giving aspect, it just feels really good for everyone. But ultimately, I want to help brands find better agencies faster.
That's awesome. Well, before we finish up, I want to ask you something, which I ask a lot of people that I've been talking with recently. And as I followed you on social media and we've chatted here and there, I think it's something that you probably think about a little bit. So give us your message of positivity for the industry and for everybody out there, because I know it's a really hard time, no matter who you are, what company you're working with. I mean, I feel lucky that, I'm making some incremental progress. I know a lot of people are having a hard time in doing that and may not even have a job. So talk a little bit about what kind of positive things you see coming out of what's going on right now.
I've seen a lot of innovation. I've seen a lot of problem solving. I've seen everything from the tech side, which I think is really exciting and innovation, but also people getting back to the fundamentals and why they're in this industry in the first place. I've seen people coming together like never before. I remember right when COVID hit, I was getting emails and text messages from people I hadn't heard from in years, but I was also sending messages and getting responses. And I was like, oh, wow, this person responded to me. You know, I think there's something really beautiful about sitting still and listening. You learn a lot about yourself. You can't help but discover, you know, I don't even know how to say it, just like how you want to spend the precious hours of your life. And if this permission to pause has given us anything, I think it's given us all a chance to kind of come back to a word that we've heard way too often, but it's essential. What's essential in your life? If that is your family, you know, I've had intimate conversations with friends who've said, you know, I didn't realize how much I didn't even know my own husband and kids. And so on the other side of this, you know, you can bet I'm going to be clearing away some space because my family is essential and I didn't realize that. So coming back to what's essential is important. And this is Willow. Hey, Willow. She's going to go anyway. Sorry, guys.
She's having a great time.
Willow lives her best life at all times in this house. So coming back to coming back to what's essential, opening up doors. And, you know, I really hope that on the other side of this, and I don't even like saying the other side, we have a long during here. COVID isn't going away. We have a really
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah. And so like
this is not a short pause, unfortunately.
You know, it's not. Using words like a post-COVID world, or even on the other side, which I'm as guilty of using, so I don't know what else to say, but we have a really long during. So we're sitting in this for a while. Like, get comfortable, pour some tea, get out of your pajamas. Like, we're doing this. I think the positivity is in the adaptation, and also in doing something you never thought you could do. Anyone had like walked up to you on the street in November of last year and said, okay, here's next year. Australia's going to catch on fire. Kobe's going to go down in a helicopter. World War III, murder hornets, global pandemic. Kanye's going to run for president. You would have been like, go back to the loony bin, right? You are living through the unthinkable. And if that alone isn't incredibly positive, there's nothing you can't do if you can't make it through this. There's really not.
It's great. It's great. No, I agree. And I agree with you. You're right. I learned a ton when I started a business the second day of 2008, and we went immediately into a downspin, survived that. This is even harder, I think, but still absolutely amazing. Listen, Amy, I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate not only your words of positivity, but I think that the new company sounds wonderful. Looking forward to, I've already made a couple of intros. I have more intros to make on your behalf.
You're awesome.
And I think that there's a lot of stuff to do out there for you. So just looking forward to, obviously, at some point or another, probably not in the next few months, but eventually getting back together with everybody and the whole crew and having a drink and gathering would be lovely. But we're going to have to wait a little while for that, I think. So
we are. And Eric, if you're still listening, please have a beer for me at Cowboy Bar. It's one of my favorites in Jackson Hole. I haven't been in way too long.
Eric needs to keep his eyes on the road, I think, is what he needs right now. All right, very good. Listen, Amy, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Everybody else who's joined us, really appreciate it. Signing off for Indie Congress. We'll be back in touch. We'll see you with Raul Leal on Friday for cocktails with Stacy Shoemaker, so make sure you have a cocktail with you. Amy, hope you join us for that. Hope everybody else does as well. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye, Willow. See you.